Welcome everybody to another episode of Butcher Shop Talk. It's been a while since we've been with you guys, but we are back at it, and I am here with Ryan Calhoun.
Yes,
if you want to introduce yourself a little second if you want.
For those of you just kind of joining us, my name's Ryan Calhoun. I've worked with Nicole for, God, I don't know how many years it's been, but I'm going to take a stab and say 4 years at Newport, and I think another 4 or 5 before that. So I work with Nicole, and pretty much I'm her protein consultant. So all things plant protein. I work for Newport Meat, so we do the distribution. We work with the farms, and we kind of consult on restaurants and golf courses and hotels and pretty much anyone that consumes protein. I have universities, so our job is to bring you guys the best meat possible, making sure we're sourcing as sustainably as possible, just kind of help you guys help the needs of our clients.
Absolutely. And for those of you who have been with us before, you'll know that we have done a few episodes where we've talked a little bit about what we've been doing and kind of where we got to where we are today with the podcast, along with Brunk's Butchery. And in those episodes, we talked a little bit about us opening Brunk Steakhouse, which we are now actually filming live in.
We are sitting in. Congratulations.
Yes. We got a little round of applause with that. But you guys may actually be able to hear some background noise too. So for those of you who are listening in and watching, we do have a live crowd that is around us today who are dining and actually watching us in the middle of this podcast.
Yeah.
It took us a little second to get up and running, but I think we finally got it done. So
right on. And I must say, this place looks gorgeous.
Thank you.
You've done a really good job. I love the display case behind us.
Yep.
And for those that you can't see, I mean, it goes a couple panes of window this way. You got some alcohol and some nice, wine behind me. You got these really cool, like cast iron lighting fixtures. I think you did a fantastic job.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a full line of meat that's going all the way down. It's definitely the showstopper that we were looking for and wanting to bring to the community with the restaurant. And so you guys can expect to be seeing us more often in regards to jumping on here and
So
updates,
give me some background. I mean, I know when you opened and kind of what you're doing, but give our listeners some tidbits. When did you open? What's been going on the last few months that you've been kind of digging into this?
Yeah, so we are actually still, and I'll do air quotes on this, but still in a soft opening stage. We opened in July of 2025. We were hoping to have our grand opening, but as anybody who's been involved in the restaurant business, there's a lot of things that happen that you don't anticipate in regards to operations and hiring and people and processes and plating and pricing and all those things, which for the expert that we have in Ryan, who's fantastic with helping us with the cost of goods and plating and making sure that we're doing things right over here. So we're just getting ready to actually have our grand opening next month.
So what was the first day? Like, when did you open doors and say, "Hey, Norco, we're here"? Like, was that a specific date, or was that kind of a slow roll?
We actually opened up July 25th on a Friday. And so we got hit really hard right away as far as like the volume and kind of just getting our sea legs underneath us, so to speak. But since then, 5 months has flown by.
Okay.
We are taking a little bit longer to get to the grand opening than we wanted to, but also wanted to have everything set so that way our customers can know what to expect when they come and not have things that we still need to work on.
Right. And it's been... this place is pretty big. We're talking, how many covers can we do here?
I would say, the occupant load is 89. If we want, we can turn those 3 times, but that's if the house is packed,
But we're talking about, 89 people. That's a nice crowd. And eventually we're going to have a patio I'm kind of staring at. And then we're going to have kind of a cool... cocktail thing on the side? Like, what is that? Yeah,
I think the side patio, because of how big it is, it gives us an opportunity to maybe do some like game days for people who want a quiet romantic dinner inside. Then they can go on the side patio and maybe watch some of the games or maybe some of the fights and really enjoy that atmosphere.
Gotcha.
With good food.
Got it.
And not take away from like the environment inside.
The softer romantic dim lighting is for the interior.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Got it. Right on. Like I said, man, it's gorgeous. For those of you listening, if you haven't been, you definitely got to try it out. All the steaks I've had are great. And it's congratulations. This is a big one.
Thank you so much. It's been 5 years since we started Brunks, and that we've gotten to 3 locations, which has been awesome. This is the first, fine dining steakhouse restaurant that we've done. We are looking to continue to expand, but want to definitely get it right here before moving forward for sure.
Yeah.
And so right now we're just planning for Valentine's Day and some of all of those big holidays that are coming up and around the corner.
So tell me what are give the listeners some tidbits on the menu. How is the menu designed? Your everyday menu. What's on there? What kind of farms are you using? Give us something.
Yeah, so farms, we're going to be using Double R Ranch, and so but our menu has a good variety, I want to say, of different items that are staples for steakhouses.
Okay.
We do have a charcuterie board that we do for appetizers. I don't know, maybe a lot of places that do that.
I mean, it's getting more and more standard, I would say.
So. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you can expect to have your regular, cowboy ribeyes, your filet, your flat irons, your tomahawks, your wagyu, dry aged. So we have a good mixture of all of those things.
Okay.
And so when we launch our grand opening in February, we will have everything dialed in, where we'll be doing bread service and different things. Potatoes for dinner. We opened late for lunch, which is something that I didn't want to do. I wanted to kind of get to that more within the first couple of months and kind of strike while the iron is hot and people are still interested, versus
Gotcha.
now having that interest go away and trying to launch a lunch. Then you're trying to reinvest people back into the business so that way they're aware.
So you are open for lunch?
We are. Yeah.
Okay. Same
7
menu?
days a week. No, it's we do burgers during the day.
Okay.
We don't actually have a burger on our dinner menu. We want to be able to have good food for everyday eating, but then also not take away from the fine dining.
Got it.
Yeah.
So lunch is more of the burger sandwich type.
Yep.
And then you get more of that steakhouse vibes kind of at night.
Absolutely.
Right on.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, and so for Valentine's Day, I know you're talking about menus and things like that.
Yeah. So for Valentine's Day, Valentine's Day, it's crazy. A lot of people would assume, my business, the busiest of my business does definitely come in the holidays for Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, like a lot of people. But for the restaurant business particularly, a lot of people don't think this one through, so I shouldn't say that, but a lot of people don't think about it. Valentine's Day and Mother's Day are the busiest holidays for a restaurant.
Yeah.
It's because everyone's going out to eating.
Yep.
Right. Everyone's going out to eat. Nobody's cooking at home.
Yeah.
And it's all two tops. It's all
Right.
just couples.
Yep.
And so your restaurant's packed. It's just 2. It's not 6 or 8, which is a little easier to tackle.
Yeah.
So those you're trying to turn tables, and your kitchen is getting slammed, and it is chaotic. So like we talked about, what I typically suggest for my clients, part of that consulting thing that I do, is really try to hone in on what you want to do for Valentine's Day, or what you want to do for those really busy holidays. And I always, when I can, I guess when it's able to, but suggest prefix menus.
Yes.
And so I think we're gonna do a prefix menu here.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yep. Yeah. Sure.
We'll have some, I think some new stuff, some old stuff. I got some cool little tips and tricks up my sleeve. We're gonna make some, I think some Chateaubriands for a lot of you that don't know what that is. Think of a center cut filet, but a nice 20-ounce center cut filet.
Beautiful.
Tenderloin. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be shareable. It's gonna have a demi glaze. It's gonna be sexy.
Oh yeah, that's one of those things and it's not something that I think we flirted with the idea of having like a not Chateaubriand, but like a beef Wellington for the menu in our dinner service.
Okay, Gordon Ramsay.
I know. Yeah, all the pastries and everything, but no, yeah, we the shareables as far as the Chateaubriand and like the 32-ounce porterhouse and all that stuff,
porterhouse,
which
yeah.
are really excited. Great value. I think we do a good job with our meat specifically, and even outside of the fixed menu for Valentine's Day. But I feel like that for our dinner menu, you can come and get a shareable steak on a porterhouse cheaper than you can get anywhere else, and you're probably getting better quality too. Just as a note there.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're cutting the porterhouses for you.
Yeah.
It is a very, very, very good quality porterhouse. Yeah, I mean, all the steaks we're doing for you is we have Snake River Farms. We got some really nice Wagyu, some tomahawks. We got some dry age. I'm just looking at stuff behind us. We got tenderloins. Yeah, we got a lot of prime stuff, a lot of Wagyu stuff. So,
Yeah.
but it's been well received.
It has, yeah.
Right?
It's been well received, and I think with having the butchery down the street, it gave us an opportunity to come to market and have proof of concept where, we know that people will come and buy high quality meat.
Yeah.
And so,
Right on.
it kind of like doing the restaurant was a no brainer in that aspect of it. And we've done a really good job, I think, of keeping some of those pricings down on some of the items where it's a value for the customer, and but they still get the quality.
Yeah. And that's ultimately like, I think that's when we do a prefix, I think the benefit is the food cost there.
Yeah.
For not only you as a restaurateur, but for your patrons. You know what I mean? It's very much they kind of know what they're buying, right?
Yep.
If it's $150 a person,
Yeah.
they're spending $150 a person.
Yeah.
The only thing you got to do is kind of make a few choices, right?
Yeah.
And it helps your staff in the back, right? You don't have to cut so many steaks. You don't have to prepare as many side dishes, or you just kind of shrink the menu down, and it really is easy for you guys to manage as a restaurant, to give the top-notch service to your patrons.
Yeah.
And also to make sure those tables get turned, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we are in this to make money. That's what a business does.
Yep.
And so, yeah, we want to make sure that we're doing it efficiently. We're not necessarily taking away from the guest, but that we're doing it in a timely fashion to where we can get some butts in those seats,
Yeah.
pretty quickly.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely a huge benefit. Newport does a fantastic job of
Thank you.
yes, and to have somebody with such a tailored custom, I think, like service that, having you as a person who could, has the background from the butchery and the protein knowledge and experience to be able to come into a business and affect it with, it's more valuable, I think, than, I think you can really even express in one sit down, just because there's so many different aspects that you're able to touch and elevate the business on. And
Yeah.
so it is really a blessing to have, to be honest.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you for the kind words.
Of course, absolutely. But
That's what we try to do, and that's a lot of, I think, what Newport has trained me to do. Newport has trained their staff, their employees to do. We are to the core protein consultants and not meat salesmen or meat salespeople.
Yeah.
It's funny. There was a gentleman that was my second interviewer when I had applied at Newport. I first interviewed with some of the executives, and they asked me to go to this salesperson who had been with Newport for 20 years. And so I drive out to, actually around here, I drive out to Temecula, and this gentleman, he was very successful. He said, the thing I hate the most is putting in orders. He did not like taking orders. He did not like putting in orders. That was not his job. His job was to go in, see his customers, consult. He was a protein consultant at his core.
Yeah.
And I think I kind of took that from him a little bit and ran with that. And I think that's what kind of separates us. There's a lot of people that just go in, salespeople in general, right? Not necessarily just protein salespeople, but they just go in, they want to sell something, right? We're all on commission. They want to make a check and then, go to the next one.
Yeah.
But I think by taking the time and actually consulting and showing value to your customer, it just makes a world of difference. It creates a bond and a relationship like you and I have. And, long term, it creates really nice success.
Yeah, it's definitely a good support because, it's almost like when you think about it, it's almost like having a restaurant consultant, but it's like in-house. So
yeah,
it's definitely a benefit, an added benefit, and I know we've been the beneficiary of it, even at the butchery along with the restaurant. So
right on. Well, speaking of consulting, so something I did want to talk today because we've been gone for I think 6 months.
At least I think it's been like at least 6 months.
So two things I wanted to do. Obviously, I wanted to go over kind of this prefix menu and kind of what you're doing for Valentine's Day, and then I want to kind of talk to our viewers and our listeners about kind of where the where the beef market is.
Yeah.
It's been kind of chaotic lately,
Yes.
which is another reason why the prefix menu is such a good I think, ideal at this point in time. But so what do we give us some insight on what we're doing for Valentine's Day,
Yeah.
what people can expect, what kind of items we're going to have on there, and then we can go kind of into that beef market.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a preset menu, so it'll be like $125, $150 per person, depending on what we end up going with. But we'll have a couple proteins on there. We'll have some shareable items. We'll also have some seafood items as well that we can put on
Okay.
there. But basically, salad, a
Three
shared
course,
appetizer,
4-course?
4-course meal.
Okay.
And then one shareable appetizer. So salad, one shareable appetizer, your protein, and then your dessert.
Entree, dessert.
Yep. And
Nice.
so we're going to do something special. We do have a new executive chef, just to kind of touch on that real quick. Because
Yeah.
in our other episodes, we did talk about our executive chef that we were opening with. And so we actually have Chef Tony with us now, who a few years back won Orange County's Best Chef 3 years in a row. And then also had won a Michelin star at one of the restaurants that he was at. So we're super excited to see him develop the menu for Valentine's Day
Yeah.
with that 4-course meal and really put
Right
something
on.
special out.
That's actually not a bad price. I have some clients who I will not name, but they are all more than $125 to $150. If you think it, like for you listeners and viewers, for you guys thinking out there, it might 150 might sound like a lot, but when you're getting salad, appetizer, entree, dessert
That's a good
for
deal.
one person each, I mean, 2 people, 2 appetizers, 2 desserts, 2 entrees. I mean, that's a pretty good deal.
That's not bad.
Yeah, considering a good quality steak is going to be, $60-$70 just in itself.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think the average cost, like if you go out to Valentine's Day and you're going out on a date or for something special to take somebody special out, I think on average you would expect to spend, $300 to $400 on average,
Yeah.
just on a nice restaurant, fine dining, special event type of thing. So I think it's right in that sweet spot for us. And so, it's going to be our first Valentine's Day. I think it's going to set us up for Mother's Day, and hopefully it kind of, with some of the videos that we do to kind of promote Brunk Steakhouse and letting people know where we're at and that we're here. Because being new, I think there's still a lot of opportunity out there to put us
Yeah.
out there and kind of
Yeah.
let people know where we're at. But
Are you going to, so I'm assuming you're going to be capping reservations at some point.
yeah, I think so. We definitely don't want to be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I've done
Yeah,
that
yeah.
before, and that does not work. But we will definitely put a cap on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for all you viewers, look out for Nicole on social media. Probably going to be some extended hours or different hours. Going to be prefix. Going to be pre-sold.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, for the menu.
So make sure you come in to treat your special lady.
Yeah, and then also too, we're going to be running that because Valentine's Day is on Saturday. We will be open on Friday or running that special Friday and on Sunday just to get through that full weekend. With
Oh,
the good
okay.
food.
You're going to be running it Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yes. Yeah.
Very cool.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah.
So.
So if someone's working Saturday, they got the opportunity to come in Friday or Sunday.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah. Or if your birthday's on Valentine's Day and you want to celebrate it on another day,
There you go.
absolutely.
Is that common?
I don't know. I mean, I think that I don't know. Maybe they're trying to get to dinners for one or something. I don't know.
Right on. Again, kind of jumping into prefixes and the beef market. I know you've been asking me questions about why meats get so high and kind of where we're at. I know when we were talking with Chef Tony a little earlier, we were kind of talking about a lot of the beef that's not coming across from Mexico.
Right.
So, long story short, and we can make it a long story if needed, but there's a few things that are adding to this. One, the amount of cattle. The biggest one is the amount of cattle that is being harvested on a weekly basis is drastically down. And so, obviously, when you have numbers that are that typically exceed 600,000 is a kind of a normal number, 600,000 head per cattle. Of cattle per week. When that drops down to sub 500, that obviously your supply goes down, right? And that's when you see prices getting high.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize, but for when you get a box of ribeyes, when you get a case of ribeyes, right? You're getting 4 ribeyes. That's 2 cows to produce that one box, right? You get 2 ribeyes off each cow. You get 4 ribeyes in a box. That's 2 cows to fill that box.
Right.
When you talk about a case of tenderloins, it's 12 tenderloins. Now that's 6 cows to fill that box. Then you start talking about flat irons or flank steaks or terrace majors.
Yeah.
Then you're talking about 10, 12, 15 cows. Flat meat, 6, 7, 8 cows to fill that box. So when you get this shortage of cattle being harvested on a weekly basis, and try to think about how many cows it takes to fill those cases,
right.
You can kind of understand where these high prices are coming into, because there's such a shortage, and the demand is still there. People
Yeah.
aren't stopping eating beef, right?
Not at all.
So that's where the prices come into, and there's a lot of other things that come with that. But again, we talked about beef not coming across the border. Not necessarily anything that has to do with our administration. But there is a screwworm. I don't know what you want to call it, a virus, bacteria, that was infecting cattle that was very close to the border. And they've continued to find cases of screwworm. And so that's very, very, very much limited the amount of beef that comes in from Mexico. So although you don't typically buy beef from Mexico, there are a lot of people that do. And so when those people don't get their beef from Mexico, they got to turn to domestic beef, and then the shortage happens again.
Yes, and then the prices go up because the demand is more. You know, it's interesting because you were talking about like meat from Mexico and people who buy meat, and that there's a big demand for, I think, meat from Mexico. And I don't know if when people are actually purchasing meat, if they know that it's coming from Mexico or if they need to notate like USDA.
Nothing is disclosed. So anytime you are providing a grade on the menu, if you have USDA prime grade or USDA choice grade, you better make sure it's graded by the USDA and it is that grade. There is some truth in menu laws that people and restaurants need to abide by, even retail. At your butcher shop, you need to make sure that we're saying what we're telling people the honest truth of what we're selling.
Yeah.
There are people, like if you're just selling a ribeye, boneless ribeye for $10.99, and you're not designating the grade, you do not necessarily need to disclose if it came from Canada, Mexico, or anywhere else.
Got it.
So I think just the background that you and I have come from, and just kind of the small community type, really like to know where their beef comes from. So we've always kind of been at the forefront of that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised, when you see, I mean, even at, larger grocery stores. I don't know. I've never worked there or worked at any of them, and so I don't really know what they're buying. But I can assume just because of the quantity of what they're buying, that not everything is graded, not everything is domestic, not everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just got to get meat in the door. So, if you don't see USDA choice or prime on the menu, on the label, on the case tags, anything like that, you could assume it's not graded. And then there's another one. There's kind of some tricks that go behind that. You really want to look out for those 4 letters, USDA. So kind of a dirty little trick that the meat industry really has been kind of known for, I should say, or at least back in the day. I still see it once in a while from some of my competitors. But on your label, when we send you a box of beef, right, or a case of beef, it could say prime boneless ribeye.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be prime. If I don't put those 4 little letters, USDA stands for the United States Department of Agriculture. If I just put prime boneless ribeye, theoretically I can call it Ryan's prime boneless ribeye, right? Or
Yeah.
Newport's prime boneless ribeye.
Right.
It's not the USDA's grade of prime boneless ribeye.
Yeah.
And so, folks, if you own restaurants, if you own butcher shops, make sure you're looking for those 4 letters,
Yeah.
USDA. It means a lot.
It does.
A lot of people, again, there's kind of some tricky things that you can get around with. But if those 4 letters are on there, you better make sure you're selling prime or choice beef.
Yeah, absolutely. I think too, like when you're just talking about the demand that you have at some of those larger, just like I think club stores and grocery stores that are buying just so much bulk because of how much meat they're going through. I think that's probably one of the biggest differences between like a small butchery, like specialized butchery shop. Where you know what you're getting, you know the farm, you know the information, and there's a lot more control, I think, in that, and sometimes why there is inconsistencies on quality or
So
everything.
there's a lot of traceability nowadays within our industry. So whether, because of outbreaks and things like that, so whether you're buying at big box grocery stores or somewhere smaller like your butcher shop, typically the cut of meat, we're pretty good at tracing it back to where it came from, who packed it, what day it was packed on, what farm it came from, what feedlot the cow was on. Just because of how good technology has gotten, we're pretty good at tracing that back. Now, that's traceability. The transparency part of it, again, people can get kind of tricky with wording and things like that.
Yeah, little caveats of this or that.
Right. So, what you are doing, I commend. It's like I said, it's kind of our background and kind of how we got started. You're working with some smaller packers, some smaller farms. It's very sustainably raised animals.
Yeah.
And it just, it does create, in my opinion, a very superior product to what people are normally kind of accustomed to at those bigger stores.
Yeah, absolutely. I was kind of thinking about just the journey that we went through with the butchery and selling the high quality meat and beef and everything else, and really going into like the farm specific and the feed and everything that kind of makes it what it is. And then moving into like the restaurant era of Brunks and realizing that, a lot of restaurants and I would say most restaurants, I would have to say maybe like 75 to 80% of the restaurants, I want to feel like that, from Cisco, they will buy like commodity meat because they're looking at profit margins and different things for their plating and cost of goods and everything. Yeah. And so with us, we're serving the product that we sell out of our meat cases at the butchery, which makes it like a higher level quality of beef. And so it's just interesting when I think about the operations and and how restaurants and owners operate and how they bring food to a table and everything else. And what we're trying to do is deliver such a great quality product without it being too pricey.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I know that there's some other like big name places that, probably won't say them just because I want to be careful with that. But knowing kind of what they're getting and then seeing what we're doing and trying to put prime out there or upper 1/3.
So look, I can say I have a handful of fine dining customers, and you are, as far as what you are buying, you are right there at the top.
Yeah.
There's everyone is buying. I think everyone has their own idea of what quality is. I think that could be subjective. Some people can call choice quality. Some people will call prime quality. Some people might even call, Wagyu quality. But I do think it's a little subjective. But I gotta say, from like I said, the handful of higher end steakhouses that I have, and people that charge a lot more than you.
Yep.
You are definitely up at the very top of my list as far as the quality of product across the board, right?
Yeah.
All those items on your invoice. You are at the top of the list of what you're bringing in comparison to the top dogs out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
at about half the price.
Yeah, yeah, it's actually pretty incredible with Ryan's background and knowledge and his customers, and to just, I don't know, you amaze me. You really do, because
well, that's just having the inside, the inside scoop.
The inside scoop for sure, but just the knowledge and everything that you have and kind of what other restaurants are doing. Has helped us in figuring out our niche as well.
That's funny. That's been, I think, my biggest learning curve. My background was not restaurants. I did come from restaurants, and then I worked at the butcher shops for almost 14 years.
Yeah.
But meat cutting and meat just in general, retail is mostly what my background consists of. When I got thrown into, I shouldn't say thrown in. When I got hired, I didn't get thrown into Newport. I applied. But when I started at Newport Meat, they are, it's very food service focused. So the predominant customers for Newport are restaurants.
Yeah.
So not so much retail. And so I had to quickly learn. I always knew how to consult and how to help or navigate through retail, small butcher shops, things like that. But yeah, it was a little bit of a learning curve for the restaurants. And so I had some help. Shout out to Mark Johnson, who has helped me drastically. He was hired about a year after I was at Newport. He's an ex-chef for about 20 years. The dude just has a plethora of knowledge that he's really helped me out with. And then just working with customers like you and kind of getting my feet under me. It's definitely helped me consult on restaurants a little more. What's the word I'm thinking of? A little more. God, I can't think of the word.
You can't think of the word?
But-
I'll actually bail you out real quick, because as you were talking, I was sitting there thinking, like, what is like the three, like, I want to say surprises that I had in the initial opening of Brunk Steakhouse and having a restaurant and bringing a high quality restaurant to a smaller town like Norco. And it was like, I felt like that there was like three learning curves, like you were talking about just when you went to it with your job in Newport, but then also with like, starting a restaurant and not having ever had a restaurant before, but coming from the meat world in the industry and protein, was one. I think that as a small family business, you have more expectations on you from the public than that you do
Yes.
in general of the larger like chain names. And I think it's because as an owner and owner operator who's actually in the restaurant and in the business, people have more access to you, so they expect more from you to be able to affect the business and what you're doing and everything else. And a lot of times I think it's really hard because we are trying to push the smaller business and supporting small family businesses out there. And that's one thing that Norco's been really good at doing just forever. They're just known for that. And it's been interesting to kind of go through that and see how there have been people on the opposite side of that who, Yelp reviews on things that are like, not nitpicky or like, could you have come to like an owner, who I make myself, I'm probably, just so you guys know, I make myself so available, probably one of the most available owners to be able to get a hold of, whether for the butchery or for the restaurant. So if there's ever any issues, it's interesting to that people choose the option of going to Yelp and doing that. But just that, and I think just the hiring and staffing and kind of the changes sometimes on, not some changes on the menu, but I want to say my three takeaways are that, being the small family business, plating and food, and kind of getting that, it taking a little bit longer than I expected to get that dialed in, and hiring and staffing as well. So, but yeah,
it's definitely like, and there's, this is what Mark has really kind of helped me with. Like, food costs is very different at a restaurant than at a retail butcher shop, and your labor is very different, and just the things that you need to care about a little bit more at a restaurant than you do at a butcher shop.
Right.
Those were the hardest things for me to understand. Now that I know them, it's pretty, it's easy to navigate. But food costs and the amount of glassware. I'm just looking like around the restaurant, right? The amount of glassware you're going to go through.
Yep.
Your labor costs are crazy because it is a service-driven, industry where, you have service and labor costs in your retail spot, but it's a little less of a drag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need to make sure, just to open this place, you need a server, a chef, a dishwasher, a bartender, a man. You know what I mean? You need 5 or 6 people just to be able to open the door and get this place up and running.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I think at the butcher shop you have 1 or 2 people.
Yeah. So different.
And so there are differences, but like I said, I think you've done a great job in doing so. I'm eager to see where it takes you.
Yeah.
I will definitely be here for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, at $150, like I said, I have a couple other customers doing some prefixes, but they're a little more pricey. So I think the value is going to be here.
Yep.
I'll make the drive.
Yep.
And so yeah, I'm thoroughly happy to see it succeeding and everything doing good. Everyone, the place is full.
Yeah.
It's a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So that's always good to see.
Yeah, we're looking out on it too right now. I know you guys can see us, but we're looking out and seeing all the people out there enjoying their food and everybody in a good mood and
Yeah.
having some drinks and enjoying
Bottles
the
of
food.
wine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think February is going to be a really good month for us. I think that we got our first kind of big holiday that's really like
Yeah.
restaurant driven. And then after that, we get to do our grand opening and the nice
Yeah.
ribbon cutting.
So and we've got a few more minutes here.
Yeah.
When is the grand opening?
So the grand
we have a
opening
date?
is I don't have the date dialed in yet. I know
Okay.
it's going to be at the end of February.
End of February. And
so I'm excited because I think that we're going to put something on that's going to really bring the community together and
Okay.
kind of come out to celebrate. The Steakhouse in Norco has been a city that's.
What do you have anything like? Are you doing anything special?
Yeah, well, we're trying to get some.
What's the vibe?
We're trying to get. Well, we're going to be giving away some food. We're going to have some tents.
Okay.
We know that we can't get everybody inside because of the occupant load, but we plan on setting up a bunch of tents outside. We're going to try and have somebody come who can sing the national anthem, and I don't want to say their name just in case we can't get them to do
Gotcha.
it. But it's a Narconian and somebody who's.
A Narconian.
Yes,
Is that a thing?
It's a thing. I swear, it's a Narconian.
Okay.
But I think that the community at the end of the day is going to be really happy about. What we've done and all the work we've put behind this.
Yeah.
It took us a little bit longer to get to the grand opening just because we want it to be that good and that right for everybody. And then also, too, that erases any excuses that we have for stuff that's not going right.
Yeah.
And so, at that point on, it's full throttle ahead. And so in February, we have our first big holiday and then
Right on.
the grand
so
opening.
some giveaways. Sounds like some we're gonna have some entertainment. People are gonna be out front. Tents,
Yep.
you said.
Yep.
Okay.
We're going to have some tents out there.
Cool.
We're going to have some live music. We're going to have some giveaways on some food. We want everybody, and this is what I kind of did over at the butchery. I know a lot of people ask the question, can you have a grand opening, so many months after opening?
Right.
And I'm like,
You've been
I've
open
done it
for
every
6 months
time.
already.
Yeah. But what that does is it allows you to have like a good customer base and you have
Yeah.
a good turnout.
Yeah,
and it kind of becomes a real community thing, which is great. And I love that kind of stuff. I really try and get myself into the community, give back to Norco since they've done so much for me, my family. But excited, excited.
Right
Excited
on.
to be part of the community.
We'll be here, and maybe we can hit up Newport for some
Yes,
some
some
donations.
donations.
yeah,
Yeah.
some steaks.
Let's see what we can do.
I'm sure we can help out some way.
Absolutely. Well, you guys, I want to end this episode just by saying thank you for staying tuned. I know a lot of people were asking if we were going to be doing the podcast, and I tell you, when we were getting through the holidays and while we were doing a lot for getting the restaurant open and up and running to a way that we were happy with, we had to step away from doing the podcast for just a little bit. But we are back on track, and you can
We are
expect
back.
we are back. I love it. We got to get a shot of that. But no, we're going to be back consistently shooting. It'll be Ryan and myself.
Yeah.
We're excited to share everything with you guys about restaurant, Brunks, the meat world and industry, which Ryan is a expert in, I would say. And we're happy to share it with you. And so we'll still be doing live podcasts. As we mentioned before in the beginning, we are actually doing this live while people are dining in the restaurant, which is kind of cool. We'll make some announcements and let you know when we're going to be doing another photo shoot so that you can come out if you'd like to. And just want to say that we appreciate you guys and thank you for tuning in.
Right on. Glad to be here.
Thank you.